in the second half, and that's probably as good as what they could have expected by the end of the 90 minutes or so. They kept the clean sheet. Southampton didn't really go looking, did they? For the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever. But Leicester, managed the game slightly better in the second half than they did the first. So, yeah, but overall, you've got to say, not a great evening.
Yeah, I totally agree. Very frustrating night. Not what we expected. I don't think anybody expected that. But these things happen. You got to dust yourself off and get on with it. I thought Southampton were the better team. They deserved the win. Obviously, 3 goals at half time and down to 10 men, you're up against it big time. But those things happen. It was a very bit of a damp squib, the second half. But you just got to get on with it.
Yeah, do you agree with that, Matt Elliott? You've been on commentary duty for us this evening and watched that. We can actually see, Matt, that the Leicester players and manager Marty have gone over to that away end. They'll be really, really disappointed, as we are, as those supporters will be with what's happened tonight.
Yeah, of course, goes without saying, the professional pride will be hurt by what happened in that first half for one reason and another, and slightly sort of sheepish going over to the travelling away supporters who are, I think, somewhat reduced in their number tonight. I don't know if there were any difficulties getting to the ground, but listen, it's a hell of a long trek, as I know. But yeah, it's hard to make any positives out of this evening, really, at all. From pretty much start to finish, the boys there have said, it sounds easy. Dust yourselves down, get on with business. Take a day or so to recover, recuperate mentally as much as physically, and then go again and build yourself up for a big home fixture at the weekend at the King Power. How they actually go about doing that, raising themselves after this, is another matter. It is easier said than done, but through your football career, there's always ups and downs, and you always deal with the here and now, the immediate. But they need to remind themselves what they can be capable of, because there's a little bit of a hope, sounds too extreme, but a little bit of expectation building, wasn't it, after the last couple of wins? They weren't playing at their full flowing best, but you thought tonight might be that time when an attractive, entertaining game might bring out the best in them. But they didn't really. I wouldn't say they shot themselves in the foot before that was able to occur, but before they could get into any sort of rhythm, they were a goal down, and before they knew it, 2 down, and the game was slipping out of their hands, and we know what happened afterwards. But yeah, it's going to be a tough old journey home for everyone concerned, no more so than the players. But they've got to show strength, character and resilience in abundance now at the weekend.
Yeah, I've just seen a replay of the first. It doesn't matter, I guess, now at this stage. He was quite a way offside, wasn't he?
It's a big mistake not to see that, in fairness. But, I think Steve mentioned it at half time. You're always running the risk of the linesman getting it wrong, and especially when you haven't got VAR. It's clearly offside. The assistant referee should put his flag up, should see that, but he doesn't. And there's nothing you can do about that unless you're in the Premier League and VAR comes to your rescue. And that is, as Steve said, that is the risk that you take, and it's unfortunate, but it does happen. It does happen. The assistants get it wrong, and we've seen them get it wrong now.
Well, it puts you on the back foot straight away. I mean, from you, Tags, I mean, do you hold that line away from home so high? Or do you,
for me,
under that risk of...
It's not about the head of the line. It's what you do. You know that the players that are stood on an offside position, you know that they're going to run back towards you and then do that. So you have to counteract that as a defender. So the line becomes immaterial. It's what you do when you know that the guy who wants to be attacking the ball is going to run back towards you and then go back towards the goal. How do you counteract that? And that's what didn't happen.
See, because I'm just thinking of the times I've obviously come back to defend free kicks, corners. You know, you've always got some, you know, one of your centre halves saying, right, hold this. This is
That's
what
it.
we're doing. Commanding the whole back line to say, you know what, it's on me.
Yeah.
You know, nobody does anything apart from, you know, when I shout or get yourself up or, you know, watch him. And I think, you know, to do that and go a goal behind like that away from home, it like you said, it just shoots yourself straight in the foot.
But in fairness to what you're saying, if they'd have dropped another 3 yards, 4 yards inside the box and the ball comes in, and that same thing happens, the linesman doesn't give it, then there's a chance that the keeper can come and get it because it's a little bit closer towards him. Or they're a little bit closer to the keeper, which affords the keeper an extra yard off his line. But they decide on the line. I'm not saying it was a bad line. I'm not saying it was a good line. You decide on the line. It's how you react as a centre half, as a defender, to the line that you set. It's down to you to make sure whether he's offside or not is immaterial, because either the linesman gives it if he's offside, or the assistant referee gives it if he's offside, or he doesn't. So you can't rely on, as you rightly said, you can't always rely on the assistant referee to get his flag up. You have to deal with the issue and hope that the assistant referee helps you out on the night.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a different game, Matt, but let's not talk about ifs and buts. Obviously, we know what has happened, and I guess an added frustration is, as you've touched upon yourself, you know, Leicester had gone into that off the back of 2 victories, then they lose, and it's a tough defeat to take, that there is no getting away from that. Is it then difficult to prepare yourself for Saturday and think, look what we've done just before? Is there a way, Niall, I think, said it on commentary, you know, you quickly draw a line under this tonight and move on?
It's not easy by any stretch, because of the manner of the defeat. I suppose, listen, if you want to take not a positive spin, but to give yourself a little bit more reasoning for what happened here tonight, they can look at the decisions that went against them, but that's got to be tempered as well by, you know, a bit of realism, as in, you know, what Leicester could have done better tonight, and the boys have just touched on one aspect of that, in terms of, like, you know, defending the set pieces, which was tonight was a worry, wasn't it? And not just with the 2 goals. And other aspects of their play, really, it's been a little bit of a problem when Leicester have lost possession higher up the field, and all of a sudden they're not organised. They got exposed again today on the counter. But at the same time, you know, they're not all of a sudden the worst team in the league. You know, things have gone against them tonight. Decisions, debatable. Like the offside, yes, that was offside. That's an error that on another day gets flagged up. The foul by Fatawu on Manning, wasn't it? You know, that brought about the first goal, and then the second goal where Fatawu feels like he's injured. I personally didn't think it was, but some people might disagree with that. But then, you know, they can look at that and say, well, you know, if they want to convince themselves for a bit of positivity at the weekend, say the rubber to green didn't go our way, you know, on another day, maybe. So they could perhaps use that method to get themselves up for the weekend. But regardless of whether they do or not, they've got to be tough. They've got to be strong mentally. You need to be that in this league. You can't just be good technically as a team and have good individuals and rely on that. It's very much a collective in this division, isn't it? And part of that collective is everyone being in it together. You know, focused, determined. The application has got to be constant. You've got to be really professional and thorough in your preparation and how you approach the games. And you know, I don't see that consistently with Leicester, but they've got to adopt that sort of attitude if they're going to produce anything in this division, starting with the weekend.
I guess one kind of positive you can take, Jerry, is that barring one team who shall remain nameless in this division, no one's really putting loads of consistent runs together. So again, two wins in 3. If Leicester match that across the season, will do very, very well. So every team's going to lose games across the season.
Yeah.
And Leicester will lose games like they've lost tonight. Every team will. It's about how you then bounce back.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't like to say there's a bit of a pattern appearing with Leicester, but the form is up and down, isn't it? And that is a common trait at this level. For some teams, they are a little bit up and down, and it seems that how many games are we in at the minute? 15, 16, something like that, is it? 17 games in now. And it's not the first time we've seen this from Leicester. And then the next game they go out and play really well. So, yes, there was a little bit of a lull, October time-ish, and then they've come out the back end of it. And then tonight wasn't their best performance by any stretch. So but we've seen them come out of these lulls in the past. Let's hope that, on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff, that, that's a game that they turn around and start playing well again. But that is the championship for you. That's what can happen.
But I think it's a side as well. Said it before the game, the momentum. For these teams to do well in this, you need to put a little run together. If it's 10 games, 12 games, and the team that we won't mention, doing that in a minute and sticking a load of goals in, but but they might have a blip, and and somebody else is their purple patch, and they go on a little run. It's the times I've played in this league, for most of my career, you always had teams doing that, putting a run together, then they'd get beat 3 or 4 games, then they'd put a run together and they'd get beat 3 or 4 games. So like Jerry says, there is a pattern to this league, but I think you're right, mate, when you say it. I think there's a pattern in the Leicester side, the way the results are going and the performances they put in.
I think, when you watch some of the performance, you're thinking, this is a good team. They've got good players. And you think, why can't they go on this run? The potential is there. And so I suppose for everyone, that's a frustrating thing.
Absolutely. Even tonight, you're thinking, go there, this is going to be I thought it was going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game with 2 good teams, on form. And, there'll be plenty of goals. And I fancy Leicester to win this tonight. And you just think, and I think that's just part and parcel of being a Leicester supporter. But, you get frustrated. You think, oh, why can't you just kick on? And then you come back, and then they will kick on, and then they won't. So,
yeah, the hope has then got to be that Saturday is
absolutely.
Is one of those games where they do then,
Well, yeah. Well, when that's the glory of football, isn't it? That there's always another game round the corner. Until there isn't at the end of the season. But between now and March, there's always another game round the corner. It's as simple as that. It's wall-to-wall football between now and March.
Yeah.
So they've got 3 months to try and find momentum, elongated momentum, not a 2 or a 3 game spell, like a 9 or a 10 game spell where, all right, they might not win every game, but can you get to a stage where you're losing 1 or 2 out of 10, and you're winning 5 and 6 and drawing 1 or 2? Totally. That's momentum. That's what gets you up the table. That's what brings real confidence, not just short-term confidence. Or short-term momentum. They need, a run of games, and at the minute, that's, Marty's job to try and find that magic bullet.
Yeah, what quick word on Sheffield United. They won at the weekend, Jerry, against in the Steel City Derby against Sheffield Wednesday. They play Portsmouth tomorrow. It's then the early kick-off Saturday. Probably suits Leicester a couple of extra days, or an extra day at least. Anyway,
you would like to think so. I mean. The way the modern day sports science works, they have every eventuality cornered off, dotted, the I's dotted, T's crossed, whatever you want to call it. So they'll have a regime in place for what's going to happen for them this week. But all said and done, you'd like to think that the extra time that Leicester have to recover should suit them in some shape or form.
Yeah, fingers crossed. That game with Sheffield United on Saturday is an early kickoff. I think as one of you guys alluded to earlier. So 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. That means we'll be live from 12 o'clock. There are international game passes available monthly for £25 a month, as well as listen live passes as well, available for $4.99 a month. So do have a look out for those. Any information you need is on Fox's Hub. Thank you to Niall and Matt for travelling down to Southampton this evening. Unfortunately, it has ended in defeat. Thank you to Steve Howard, to Jerry Taggart for your company here in the studio. As Jerry says, the beauty of football is there's always another game around the corner. We'll see you all again on Saturday morning. Goodbye.